right, welcome everybody. I've got Jen, welcome, Priya, and then everybody who's joining me at home, welcome. This is a somatic class. If you haven't watched the intro to somatic yoga and you haven't taken this class with me before, please pause this, go watch it. It's just about a minute long and it'll explain what we're doing and what the practice is about, and then come back and join us here. So you're going to need 2 blankets, and you might not even really need a mat. Priya and Jen are going to take 1 blanket and unroll it over their mat, and that's going to give you maximum sliding area. If you're on a carpet, then you can just do this practice on the carpet with no mat, no blanket, or if you're on a really slidey floor. But most of you are going to want something to move around on. Yeah, those are a little smaller than I thought, but they'll work. And then second blanket, just have near the back edge of your mat. You'll use it as a pillow later on. And come to lie all the way down onto your backs. So most of this practice is going to be done with the eyes closed. It's very meditative. So most of us spend the majority of our day up in the headspace. Like, we're a very intellectual culture. It's a great thing. The brain has gotten us very far, but it creates a discord and a disconnection and a dis-ease with the body. So this practice is about finding present moment and connecting to what's going on beneath the surface. So as you come to lie down, let your eyes close. And we'll just start with a brief body scan. And first just notice how you feel today. And it's different every day. And then rather than trying to block out distractions such as noises in your home, let them come in. And let's focus just on sounds for 10 seconds, the next 10 seconds. Notice as many sounds inside the room, outside of the room as you can. You notice how just focusing on sounds allows your mind to calm a little bit and to arrive more here. You shift your awareness to sense of smell. And the brain only gives about 2 to 3% of bandwidth to the sense of smell, so it might be hard to smell something. Imagine that you have a flower right in front of your nose. Take a sniff. And then even though your eyes are closed, shift your awareness to your sense of sight and just notice how you can still see even though your eyelids are closed. It's because your eyelids are thin and there's a little bit of light filtering through them. Creates a TV screen-like effect behind your eyes. And shift your awareness to a sense of touch and notice how you can tell the difference between the texture of floor underneath, blanket or carpet. You can feel the difference in textures of your shirt, your pants, whatever you're wearing. You can feel the temperature of the air on your skin. And then start to dive in a little deeper and notice the rise and fall of your breath. Notice any spaces of tension or tightness in your body. And this practice, this somatic practice, helps to facilitate release of all of the muscles and connective tissue more on a neurological level. We all hold neurological tightness or subconscious tightness. That's the kind of tightness you hold in your shoulders when you shrug them up by your ears or when you clench your belly. You do it when you're not really thinking, when you're checked out. And this practice allows the whole nervous system to get a reset, to relax, so that everything starts to melt and release. We'll start by taking 3 rounds of cleansing breath. Go ahead and exhale all the way out. And then draw a deep breath in. Hold your breath in at the top. And with an open mouth, sigh it out. And press every drop of air out. And again, inhale, fill. Hold at the top. 3, 2, 1, let it go. Press every drop of air out. Last time, deep breath in. Fill all the way to the edges of your toes, fingers, crown of your head. Hold it. Gaze at the space between your eyebrows. Hold for 3. Hold for 2. And then let it go. Good. Stretch your arms out overhead. And right now you both have a pillow underneath your heads, or you have a blanket, but if you feel like you want to move it away and let your spine lie flat, you can, or you can keep it there if it feels good. And now point your feet, curl your toes towards the floor, and arch your back. Good. And curl your toes, this way. And you'll feel the whole front of your body lengthen, from the tops of your ankles to the tops of your shins, your thighs, even your armpits and the fingertips. On your exhale, flex your feet. Curl your toes towards your shins, draw your navel in towards your spine, and try to lengthen your whole back, even your back ribs to the floor. You feel the back of your body lengthen. And we'll move with the breath. Inhale, point your feet, arch your back, flare your ribs out, and then exhale, flex your feet. Draw your navel in, lengthen your back body to the floor. Inhale, point your feet, arch your back. Exhale, flex your feet, navel in. And keep moving with your breath. We'll do this for about a minute. Your gaze soft, or better yet, your eyes are closed. Let your internal gaze turn on. And notice how even though your eyes are closed, you can almost see your body in space because you can sense it. From your feet moving, your legs, your arms. Start to connect on that deep inner level. Notice if it feels more natural for you to point and arch, or more natural to flex and lengthen. Inhaling as you point and lift and open your ribs. Exhaling as you firm your navel and flex your feet. And then notice how your mind has a boundary for your body. This is how long you can get, this is how big. Notice how you can actually push past that as well. In the next couple of rounds, get longer, get taller, stretch. Aging does not have to mean you shrink. Last one. And then completely release everything. Just soften your muscles. Your arms can stay overhead, or you can release them by your side. And after every round of movement, we'll take a little pause. It'll be like a short yoga nidra, or a body scan, if you will, where we just notice. It's not very often in our culture that we allow our awareness to turn inward, and so that language of noticing is maybe unfamiliar to you. So I want you to just be curious, like it's the first time you've arrived in this body. What sensations arise? What do you feel? And a couple of things that come to mind are vibration or tingling. You might feel a pulsation. You might feel warmth starting to build in some areas of the body as we move, and you might still feel some areas of the body cool. Some areas of the body will feel bright and vibrant and connected, and others will feel dark and heavy or dull, disconnected. There's no wrong sensation. I just want you to start noticing that inner landscape. And draw an inhale, in breath, hold, and exhale out. And bring your arms by your side. We're going to do a similar movement, that this time we'll start with the legs and then we'll add arms. Flex your feet. And this will be really subtle to start. Feet flexed, curl your toes towards your shins. And then now, without lifting your leg or bending your knee, push and slide your right leg forward. And you'll feel your right heel reach a little bit past your left heel. If this is your first time taking the video, you might have to get up and look the first time. And then you're going to push and slide your left heel past your right. Push here. Push into my hand. Yep, good. And then push through the right. And then push through the left. And then push through the right. And then push through the left. And what you're going to feel is that your hips are also sliding as well. Your left hip slides, and then your right hip slides. Good. And you can feel the whole side of the leg start to slide with the movement. We're going to add arms to that now. Reach your arms up overhead. And the next time you push and slide your right leg forward, reach your right arm away from your right leg. Inhale. And then exhale, left side. Good. Inhale, right. And exhale, left. And this starts to become a lot more familiar. It's that kind of stretch that you would take after a really delicious nap and you have nothing to do for the rest of the day. This is something if we all did on a daily basis, we wouldn't really need doctors as much. So releasing and healing for the body. If you haven't already, start to breathe. Inhale on one side, exhale on the other side. And notice how muscles and the whole body are starting to work together. As you stretch the right side waist lengthens even through the right armpit, and then switch to the other side. Inhaling one, and exhaling the other. Keep going with your breath, another minute. And again, notice the boundaries that your brain has for your body. And the brain does have a map of the body in it, and it's based on the movement that you do in your life. So if you're very sedentary, then your brain, the map that your brain has of your body is a little bit incomplete. So some of us might be forging new territory here or reforging. Try to get a little bigger. Go past that boundary. Get longer. Stretch out through your heel. Reach through your fingertips. Another 30 seconds. Inhaling one side and exhaling the other. You might notice that one side is a little tighter than the other. That's usually what creates the shortness on one side of the body. Whatever that short side is, spend a second longer there next couple of times. Last couple. And then last one. And when you're finished, when you feel even on both sides, just release your muscles. Your arms can stay overhead or come by your side. And then again, little body scan. Let your eyes close and be curious. And notice any sensations that arise. Notice the sides of the waist feeling more spacious, more expansive. You might feel a release of pressure, tingling, or pulsing. And draw a deep breath in. Hold it. And with an open mouth, sigh it out. And stretch your arms out overhead. Reach long one time. And then draw your knees into your chest. Rock a little bit from side to side. And this next movement we're about to do is really subtle as well, and then we'll start to get a little bit bigger. Release the soles of your feet to the ground. Arms by your side. Even though this movement is very subtle, it's one of the most vital things you can do. And I would say if you start to bring some of these movements to your everyday practice, this is one that you should do in the morning when you wake up, at night before you go to bed. And that's spinal rocking, spinal waves. The spine, right? The spine is our life force. And if anything happens to the spine, it restricts our quality of life, right? And humans are, I always forget the percentage, I think 70 to 90% liquid. And we need to be fluid. And the spine needs fluidity in order to be healthy. And yet, we live in this culture that sits rigidly or stands rigidly. And if we do move, even in yoga, it's very side to side, front, but no spinal waving, spinal movement. So for some of you, this might be new unless you're a dancer. Give yourself a little bit of time to pick it up. Let your awareness come to your hips, your spine. Just feel the natural curvature of it. You should feel your tailbone on the ground and the bottoms of your hips. And then you should feel a little lift where the curve of your back comes off the mat or the blanket, and that's your lumbar spine. And then your spine curves back down, comes back down to the blanket, that's thoracic spine. And then it curves back up with the neck lifting off the mat, and that's the cervical spine. And then the head comes back down. I want you to draw your navel in towards your spine and feel your low back flatten to the floor. That's one half of this movement. With the other half, I want you to press your tailbone down, rock your tailbone down, and let your low back lift again off the floor. Inhale. And then with your exhale, draw your navel in, lengthen your low back to the floor. So your hips are not lifting the ground. Inhale, lift your low back off the ground, press your tailbone down, and then exhale, draw your low belly in, lengthen your back to the floor. Inhale, arch, and exhale, lengthen. And that's our movement. Very subtle, very powerful for the spine. Keep going with it for about a minute. Inhaling, arching, and exhaling, lengthening. And your arch might be really little. Maybe I could fit a finger underneath the small of your back as it lifts. Or it might be bigger, and I could fit maybe a whole lemon under there. Inhale as you lift. Here, yep. And then exhale as you lengthen. Good. Inhale as the low back lifts and the tailbone presses down to the floor. And exhale as the navel draws in and the low back lengthens. You got it. Keep going. And what you'll notice is how the body is connected, right? As you move, your body is starting to move in a natural way, even though I'm not telling you to. I can see these two ladies doing it as they lift their low back off the floor. The chin draws towards the chest, and as they lengthen the low back to the floor, the chin lifts up and away. The feet lightly push and pull. The arms lightly push and pull. So down at the base of your spine, that's where we're really starting to warm and build fluidity. This is a very important space, right? Houses our ability to digest, to eliminate, to detoxify, as well as to reproduce. And all of these processes are watery and need fluidity and movement. And so right now you're bringing flow of blood, lymph, prana to these spaces and healing. For these last couple, you might start to lift your bottom ribs up a little bit, make your arch a little bigger. And then we'll add to the movement. Interlace your hands behind your head. And the next time you arch your back, press the back of your head into your hands. Open your elbows wide, inhale, and then as you exhale, lengthen your low back to the floor, hug your elbows in by your ears, and then round. Lift your head and chest and shoulders up. Tuck your chin to your chest. Moving with the breath, inhale, lie back, arch, elbows wide, head presses back. Exhale, round in. You got it. Inhale. And exhale. Allowing your eyes to close, sense it from the inside out. So as you lift up and round, you're going to feel muscles along your spine, from the base of your spine, your tailbone, all the way up through the crown of your head, getting a stretch, the spinal erector muscles. And then as you lie back and open, the whole front of the body gets a release. As you move, if you feel a really nice stretch somewhere, feel free to pause, wiggle around a little bit, dig into it. Another 30 seconds. And this might closely resemble a crunch, like a gym exercise, but the emphasis is not on what we're engaging, it's on what we're stretching. Last one. And then release. Arms by your side. We're going to do one more thing for the spine, and then we'll take our big rest. Palms facing down. Feet hips width distance. Walk your heels a little bit closer to your hips. And then before we start moving, wake up the soles of your feet. Lift and spread all 10 of your toes. And try to stretch your big toe away from your pinky toe. Feel the soles of your feet and the texture underneath them. And the soles of our feet house more sensory receptors than the whole rest of the body. When we wear shoes all the time, we deaden them. It's almost like putting a veil over your eyes, right? So the ability to wake them up is so healthy for the rest of the body, the rest of the musculature. Go ahead and relax your toes down. Keep your feet awake. Root down through the four corners of your feet. And then on your exhalation, draw your low belly in. Lengthen your low back to the floor. Tilt your tailbone up to the ceiling. And then one vertebra at a time, start to peel your low back off the ground, then your mid back, then your upper back. Coming into bridge. We're going to flow in and out, so don't lace your hands, but you might walk your shoulders behind you a little bit if that feels good. And then one vertebra at a time, start to roll all the way back down. Upper back, then mid, tailbone last if you can. Good. Begin again. Draw your navel in, lengthen your low back to the floor, tilt your tailbone up, inhale all the way up. One vertebra at a time. And exhale slowly, one vertebra at a time, all the way down. Matching breath with movement, vinyasa. If you like, you can add arms to this, and the next time you inhale, lift your arms up overhead, and then bring the backs of your hands to the floor behind you as you reach your peak. And on your exhalation, lower your hips down and arms down with you. And keep going, about another 30 seconds. Your eyes closed if you're comfortable. Turn on the mind's eye. What muscles do you feel stretching? What muscles do you feel working? Notice if the inner edges of your feet are lifting up, root them down. Allow your thighs to roll inward. And for the last several, add a second to your inhalation. Add a second to your exhalation and slow your movement down to match, like you're moving through thick liquid. Even slower. Really good. Last one. This time you have the option, if you like, to come up into full bridge and hold for 5 breaths. Or if you feel like you've gotten enough back bending and your knees have had enough, just release down for 5 breaths. Yeah, you can lace your hands, whatever way you like to bridge. For 5. 4. 3. 2. And come onto the balls of your feet. Lift your heels. Slide your arms out of the way if they're laced, and then one vertebrae at a time, roll down. Good. Let your legs straighten. Let your arms release. Just a little mini pause to see what we stirred up through all those spinal movements. Allowing your eyes to close and body come to stillness. Which is a whole lot to wake up the spine. Let your awareness settle there and notice any sensations that you feel. You might feel a vibration, or a tingling of aliveness, or pulsing. And notice how the spaces of your body that felt warm previously are shifting. There's probably more warm spaces now. The spaces that felt heavy, dull, or disconnected, or maybe starting to wake up. And then one thing I like to do before we start to really move the limbs, especially if you haven't really been moving much today, is to notice, without moving your feet, without looking at them, ask yourself how you know that you have feet. Seems like a really silly question. But one of the things I see as people age is they lose this ability to sense the body. And that's not something that has to happen as we age. It's really something that happens as we are sedentary. And if you don't feel your feet, don't freak out. I'm sure you all have some. Wiggle your feet, wiggle your toes. Wake them up. And you can feel the neural pathways wake up, the synapses, feel sensation there. Keep your awareness there, and then let your feet come back to stillness. And then walk your way up your ankles, to your calves, to your shins, the fronts and backs of your knees. Pause at your knees for a moment. It's a place where a lot of us tend to check out. If you can feel them. Move up to your thighs, backs and fronts, and hips. And then let your awareness move to your hands. And hands are actually the easiest part of the body to sense. And that's because they take up the most real estate in the brain. We use them all day. It takes up a lot of space in the motor and sensory cortex, so you should easily be able to feel your palms. And notice how you can probably feel your dominant hand more than your non-dominant hand. Jen and Priya, wiggle your dominant hands for me. All right, Jen's right-handed. Priya, you're left-handed? Okay, cool. And then move your awareness up. Feel your wrists, your forearms, fronts and backs, your elbows, your upper arms. Feel your face. Soften all the muscles in your face. And then if there were parts in your legs, your arms, where you didn't really feel very much, know that you're not alone. Again, that's just a culture thing. We're not big movers, so we tend to lose access to those neural pathways. We'll wake them up, and we'll do this again towards the end of class, and you'll see a big difference in connection. Go ahead and stretch your arms out overhead again. Same movement we started with. Point your feet, arch your back, inhale. Exhale, flex your feet, navel in. Couple more of those. And you'll notice, since we warmed up and woke up the area of the spine, that your side body, front body, back body is going to be a lot more responsive. And the next time you flex, hold the flex, and then stretch the side body. Inhale as you stretch the left side long, and then exhale as you stretch the right side long. And remember to push and slide your leg forward. Yeah. Left side, push and slide your left leg long. Yeah, inhale, and then exhale the right side. There you go. Couple more. And this should be a lot more responsive too, maybe getting a little bit more range of motion. If you're not a dancer, these muscles, especially in the sides of the waist, tend to just turn off after time. So it takes them a little while to wake up. Have patience. Good. Last one each side. Good. And then draw your knees into your chest when you're ready. Rock a couple times. And release the soles of your feet to the floor, knees bent. Bring your arms out into a T. Palms face up. Really simple movement with the arms, and then we're going to add a leg movement and connect. So just try to reach your right arm, right fingertips to the right. Just slide them in that direction, straight out to the right. And then reach your left arm in the opposite direction. And we'll just kind of alternate from side to side. Inhale the right side, and then exhale, let yourself be pulled to the left. 2 more on each side. Inhale right, exhale left. Inhale right, exhale left. Good. I think your brain gets that one really easy, so we'll move to the legs. Open your feet a little bit wider than hip width distance. And then keep the soles of your feet awake again. Lift and spread your toes. And now start to knock your knees off to the right Mm-hmm. Press into the sides of your feet. Turn your gaze to the left. Push your feet into the ground. Arch your back. Inhale. Mm-hmm. And then exhale, come back through center. And yeah, this is definitely a complicated one. So if you're new to this class, just take a peek. Knock your knees off to the left. Just a few inches, not all the way to the floor. Turn your gaze to the right. Opposite direction. Push your feet into the floor. Lift your right hip. Lift your ribs. Inhale. And then exhale back through center. Good. Moving with the breath. Knees right. Gaze left. Push. Arch. Inhale. And exhale. Knees left, gaze right, inhale, and exhale. Knees right, gaze left, inhale, and exhale. You got it. Moving with your breath. Keep going. So you're going to feel a nice stretch. It's going to be different for all of us, but many of you are going to feel a stretch across your shoulder blades if you have a lot of tension and tightness there, maybe in the low back. And then some of you who carry tension and tightness more in the front of the hips and the side body is going to feel a nice stretch when you twist. Keep going. If you feel a really sweet spot of the stretch, start to add a little pause where you suspend your breath and just reach even longer. Another 30 seconds. And if there's a part of you that's holding back, if you're in your home, nobody's watching, let that go and make it bigger. Maybe you arch your back a little more, maybe you stretch. Oh, we forgot to add the arms. Next time you reach your arms away from each other. Really take that stretch across the upper back. We'll add another 30 seconds so we can fit that in. That kind of stretch that you do when you woke up from a really good nap. This is another one you can add to your day. So much good things for the spine, for the back. Last one each side. And then when you feel even on both sides, release. Let your legs stretch out, release your arms by your side. Little mini pause, body scan. Let your eyes close, come to stillness. We lived in these bodies for so long, some of us 20, 30, 40, many more years, that we get so bored, we start to check out. I want you to try to find a way to be curious again, like it's brand new. And as you close your eyes, what's the first sensation that you feel? And even no sensation is a sensation, although I hope you're feeling something. No wrong answer. Notice tingling or buzzing, pulsation, warmth, coolness, heaviness, lightness, pressure. And notice how you're starting to feel more connection to your limbs. We checked out with that once before, but just notice if you can feel your feet more easily now, your legs, your hands and arms, connected to your spine. Take a round of cleansing breath. Inhale, fill, hold, and sigh it out. But stretch your arms out overhead one time, reach. Let's do a couple of those movements to reset. Point your feet, arch your back, inhale, and then flex your feet, exhale. Or if you'd like, you can do the side-to-side stretches instead. Yogi's choice. And when you feel even, draw your knees into your chest and roll to your right side. And here's where you're going to reach for that. You're going to want to reach for their second blanket and slide it underneath your right ear so that your neck is in line with the rest of your spine and head supported. Bend your knees deeply into your chest so you're in a fetal position, and then stack your arms one on top of the other, left arm over the right. And take a peek if you're new to this class so you can see what we're doing, and then go ahead and lie back down. So start to crawl your left fingertips further forward, out past your right fingertips. And then on your inhalation, lift your left arm up to the ceiling. Let your head turn with your hand. And on your exhalation, open wide behind you. Inhale to lift back up to the ceiling. And exhale to bring your arms back together. That's our movement. Inhale to lift. Exhale to open. Inhale to lift. And exhale to close. And once you get it, allow your eyes to close. Feel it from the inside out. Keep going. Inhale to lift your arm and exhale to lower it. Notice how you can feel air gliding between your fingertips as you go. You can feel the sensation of aliveness in your arm. So it's almost as you can see your body moving, your hand moving in front of your eyes, even though your eyes are closed. Really starting to tap into our deeper sense of awareness. Let's do one more. And let's meet in the twist. Go ahead and open all the way up. And your gaze can either be straight up to the ceiling if that feels better for your neck, or open to your left arm. Lift both of your ribs up for a moment, spin them a little more to the left, and lower your left shoulder closer to the ground. Now let's make this an active stretch for the first couple breaths. So imagine you just woke up from an amazing nap. Stretch your fingers away from each other, reach through your arms, lift your chest, your ribs up at your back. Hold that for 3. See if you can stretch any wider. 2. Last breath. And then stay where you are, just soften everything. Soften everything. Notice how even though your eyes are closed, you can feel the shape of your body. You can sense it all the way down through neural pathways. This is what the yogis call the energy body. We like to think that it's something crazy and woo-woo and untouchable, but energy is the flow of messages from brain to body. Energy is the flow of blood, and it's the flow of lymph. And we can, on a very subtle level, sense all of those things. And this is one of the many ways how this will improve your asana practice. It'll improve whatever sport or art it is that you do on the outside. Because the more you can be aware and connected in your body, the more sure your movements are. Let's take a round of cleansing breath. Inhale, fill, and exhale, release. And reach your left arm back, up and over. And then we'll roll over to the other side. To your left. Coming into a fetal position, bend your knees deeply, stack your arms right over left. And then start to crawl your right fingertips further forward. And on your inhalation, lift your right arm up to the ceiling, and exhale, open all the way. Let your head turn with you. Notice if this is your tighter side or less tight. It's going to be different. Inhale, lift back up, and exhale, close. Moving with your breath. Inhale to lift, exhale to lower. Inhale to lift, exhale to lower. Slow, smooth breaths. Let your breath match the movement, so the hand and the top of the inhalation arrive at the same time. Hand and bottom of the exhalation arrive at the same time. If you're a really kind of high energy person, it's going to take some work for you to slow down in this way, but you're the person that really needs it. So take that challenge and rise. Notice how you can feel the air gliding between your fingers, across your arm. Feel a sensation of aliveness in your whole body. Last couple. The sense of sight takes up 70% of bandwidth in our brain, or 70% of brain real estate, if you will. So when we allow the eyes to close, all of our other senses get a lot more space and energy. When you're open in the twist, go ahead and hold there. Hold open in the twist. And then lift both ribs up for a moment, spin them over to the right, let your right shoulder come a little closer to the ground. Your gaze can be either straight up or open to the right, and then allow your eyes to close again. And then making this an active stretch. Like you just woke up, reach your arms wide, stretch through your fingers, lift your chest to your ribs, arch your back, holding for 3, holding for 2, and then soften everything where you are. Good, hold that. And again, notice how you can almost see your body just by sensing it. And that's the other senses that I was talking about we're able to tap into by closing the eyes. We're far more aware of surroundings, of sounds, of smells. We're more in the present moment and aware of where we are, who we're with. It's the meditative aspect of the practice. A round of cleansing breath. Inhale, fill, hold, and with an open mouth, sigh it out. Go ahead and bring your right arm back up and over other right, Jen. There you go. And then come all the way onto your back. Good, and over to your right side again. So now we're going to do our last and final movement. It's the biggest one yet. Roll onto your right side. And this one will be a 3-parter. So we'll work a movement with the arms first, and then a movement with the legs, and then we'll put the 2 together. And if you're new to this practice, you're definitely going to want to lift your head up, look, and then come back down and start to get it. And the more times you do this practice, the more simple and fluid it'll become, and you won't even need to look at me, you'll just listen to my voice. So arms are stacked, just as before, left over right. And if you're dealing with any shoulder injuries, then this next arm movement, if it causes you pain, I want you to repeat the movement we did just prior to this, which is the arm lifting straight up to the ceiling and then opening in the twist. But if you're able to, you'll keep your left fingertips along the ground and then slide them up over your head along the floor. And then as your arm comes over your ear, let your palm face up. And then open all the way up into a twist. Good. And now slide all the way back, palms together. That's one long exhale. Let your palm face down as your arm comes over your ear, and bring your hands back together. Inhale as you slide all the way open into the twist. Your head can turn with the movement. And exhale as you slide all the way closed. Good. And again, if this causes pain to your shoulder, just go straight up to the ceiling. When you're healed, revisit this movement as it is. Inhaling open, and exhaling close. It's a really delicious movement that gives a nice stretch to the chest, the pectoral muscles, muscles underneath the armpit. And it's another movement that we don't really get much of in this modern culture. Not really reaching up and overhead and around, and there are some very important lymph nodes there that require space and fluidity to detoxify the body and to provide healing. Inhale all the way open. And exhale the whole way closed. Breath and movement synced. Vinyasa. A couple more like this and we'll move to the legs. For these last couple, try to take up more space. Reach through your elbow. Reach from your shoulder head. Get really big and wide. If you're hitting something in your house, a wall, a piece of furniture, go ahead and move yourself now because you're going to want to be able to stretch out completely so that this movement feels as good as it can get. Last one. And then come all the way back. All right, palms together. We're going to do a few movements with the left leg, and it doesn't really feel as good as on its own, so we're just going to do it enough that the brain is on board with what we're trying to accomplish, and then we'll put these two movements together and make it one big thing. So your left leg is stacked and bent over your right. And now slide your left leg forward and straighten it right in front of you. Right in front. So that you're in front. Yep. Oh. You had it right, Jen. So that your thighs are still stacked, but your left leg is straight out in the same direction as your hands. And that's our starting point. And then start to slide your foot down towards the bottom of your mat. Keep it straight. And then start to swing your leg behind you. And as your leg comes behind you, bend your knee. Pause there. Don't let your hips open to the ceiling, but do try to press your hip points forward as you reach your knee back. It'll give you a really nice hip flexor stretch. If your hip flexor is tight, it might be resistant now, but it will start to open up. Slide your left leg forward again. Straighten your leg. And then slide your leg down to the bottom of the mat. Bend your knee, reach it behind you, press your hips forward, and then one more time, slide your leg down, straighten, and forward. Good, pause there. All right, your left leg is stretched out in the same direction as your hands. Keep your foot anchored down for now, and then slide your left fingertips along the floor, up overhead, open in the twist. Pause right here. If you're new, just take a peek, check, and see if you're in the same position as my friends. This is a really complicated one to start out with. So we're going to start to move in an opposite direction with the arm and the leg. So as you start to close your left arm, swing your left leg down towards the bottom of your mat, and then bring it behind you, bend your knee, press your hips forward, reach your left arm forward. Good, that's your exhale. And then inhale, swing your left leg forward, open your left arm wide into the twist. Yes. Inhale. Exhale as you swing your leg back and reach your left arm forward. Reach through your heel, bend your knee, and then inhale as you swing your leg forward and open your left arm wide. You got it. I'll guide you through it a couple more times. It's complicated, and then I'll let you be on your own. Swing your left leg back. Bring your arms together. Good. Swing your left leg forward. Slide your left arm open in the twist. That's your inhale. The inhale is always to help you open. And then you exhale as you close your arms. There you go. That's your inhale, Priya. And then exhale as you move in the other direction. Good. You got it. So once you get it, let your eyes close and just start to move with the breath. It's okay if you brush your friend. If you're doing this with a friend, just keep going. And then start to find a connection between your left leg, your left arm, and your torso. Sometimes it can feel like they're moving independently. Think of finding a sweeping circular motion. Get as long as you can. Yeah. And if you feel a really sweet spot in the stretch somewhere, hold it. Suspend your breath. Reach even longer. Exhaling as your arms come together and your leg swings back. And then inhaling as your leg swings forward and your left arm opens wide into a twist. So with this movement, we're really getting a lot of the connective tissue and fascia to open up and release. Connective tissue, if you're unfamiliar with it, or fascia, is a substance that wraps within our muscles, around them, connecting muscle to muscle, muscle to ligament, and to bone. And when part of the fascia or connective tissue is tight, it pulls on the whole rest of the body. Where muscle is like elastic, it can stretch like a rubber band. Fascia is more like hard plastic. It's bendable, but it's not really stretchy. And it's one of those things that starts to build up as we age, not necessarily because we're aging, but because we're sedentary. Layer upon layer of fascia starts to build, and we get kind of stiff and crusty. These kind of movements let fascia release because it's more on the nervous system level of a release, as we spoke about earlier. It's calming the whole nervous system, and through breath, making space so that you don't get really short like your grandma when you get old. It's important for me because I'm only 5 feet tall. It means a lot. Last couple, and for these last ones, I want you to challenge yourself to get really big. We tend to shrink ourselves also in our minds, get really small. I want you to take up some space and feel comfortable in that. No apologies. That looks awesome, guys. One of my students who comes to my class, she is healing from, well, she has celiac disease, but she went undiagnosed for, I think, 40 years of her life, and she said this practice has really started to help her heal her digestive system, reduce inflammation, and give her the ability to eat food without having pain. I have students who this helped to heal shoulder injuries with, and also athletes, golfers that use this to just become more aware of their inner body. Last one, make it your biggest one yet. When you're ready, roll onto your back. No rush. We'll take one little mini pause before we move to the other side. Let your arms rotate open, palms face up. Let your body land, find stillness, and then notice we just did a whole lot of movement on the left side. And if you're new to this whole body sensing thing, notice how you can feel a difference between the left and right. Difference in length, in a sense of spaciousness. You might feel more vibrancy on the left side than the right. Warmth, connection. So you can feel all the way down to your left foot and left hand more easily than your right foot and right hand. And what does this mean for you in your life? It means that whatever movements you're doing, whether it's washing dishes or catching a baseball, it means that you're going to be more sure and exacting in that. Or if you're just listening to a friend in conversation, it means that you can be more there and you can listen without going off into what you're going to say next. Building presence, mindfulness. Just take a cleansing breath. Inhale, fill, hold. And with an open mouth, sigh it out. Draw your knees into your chest and roll onto your left side. You guys had a butterfly visitor. Black wings and purple. All right, last movement, last side. Stack your arms. We're just going to do that arm swing first. And again, if you're dealing with shoulder thing on this side, you'll just go straight up to the ceiling and back. Otherwise, start to slide your right fingertips overhead. And then all the way open in the twist. Let your head turn with the movement. That's your inhale. And then exhale, slide all the way to close. You got it. Inhale to slide open. And exhale to slide close. Moving with your breath. Notice how this side is different. We are not symmetrical beings. We always have one side that holds more of the tension because of the way that we stand or the way that we carry things. Start to become more aware of what that side is for you and if it changes over time. Last couple, and with these start to get a little bigger. Reach through your elbow, reach through the shoulder head, pick up more space. Inhale all the way open and exhale all the way closed. Last one. The next time your arms are together, pause. Just a few sweeps of the leg so our brain is on board with what we're doing. Sweep your right leg forward so that your thighs are in the same line and your foot is pointing in the same direction as your hands. Other way, Priyanka. Leg forward. This way forward. I know it's like difficult when you're lying down. And then arms together. She's all full relaxed. That's good. Good. Just a few sweeps of the leg. And now, from this position, start to sweep your leg towards the bottom of your mat. Keep your arm where it is for now. Keep your arm over here. We'll just do the arm, leg for a moment. I know you're ready for that whole thing. Bend your knee. And just what I want you to find before we move the arms is being able to press your knee back and press your hip bones forward. So you get your stretch in the psoas. And then swing your leg down, straighten it, and then forward. You'll feel a stretch in the back of your leg, your hamstring, your calf. And then one more sweep down. Reach your leg back, bend your knee, press your hip bones forward, your knee back. Good. Getting into the psoas, and then forward. And then now we'll start to move both. Anchor your leg where it is for a moment, and then slide your right arm open. That's your inhale. Stay here. Yep, keep your leg where it is. And then now we'll move in opposite directions. And exhale, right arm closed as you swing your right leg back. Good. And then inhale, right leg forward as the right arm opens. Exhale, right arm forward, right leg back. And then inhale, right arm opens, right leg forward. It's a really complicated one to get. It normally takes students a few tries, a few classes, so have patience with it. Take a pause, revisit if you need. I'll give you a few more guidances and then let you go. As your right arm opens and leg swings forward, inhale. And then as your right leg reaches back, your arms come together, exhale. Good. As you start to get it, close your eyes and notice again how different this side is. And let it be a little different. Maybe you reach a different way through your arm, through your leg. What is needed to unravel this side will be different than what is needed to unravel the other side. And if it feels like your leg is moving independently of your torso, of your arm, start to connect them. Make it long and sweeping and circular. Now I can see a big difference just there with you guys. Keep going. I'm just going to give you a assistance with the psoas stretch, and I can tell you're tight on this side. Inhale, yep. And then exhale. There we go. Yes. Lovely. And again, if you find a sweet spot where the stretch is delicious, just pause there, suspend your breath, reach long. Might be in a completely different place than where you paused with the other side. Last couple. Try to get really big with these. Take up space. And Priya, for these last two, let your head turn when you open. Oh, there you go. It's a different kind of stretch, huh? The other way is good too. It's a different kind of opening. There you go, Jen. Last one, biggest yet. And then when you're finished, roll onto your backs. Or you can keep going. But yeah, and if you're at home and you're really loving one of these, totally pause the tape, keep on going, and then press play when you're ready to catch up with it. All the way onto your backs. You can scoot out of the sun if you want. Shavasana. Let your arms rotate open, palms face up, and then again, take up some space and challenge yourself to open your legs and arms so wide that your brain starts to go, oh no, you can't get that big. And then get that big and stay there. Nice. And then little body scan, notice the balance between left and right side now. Balance and evenness in vibrancy, in warmth, in spaciousness, and your ability to feel down to both feet and hands, and to feel that the limbs are connected and continuous from the spine. A really interesting study that came out, a scientific study that showed that the ability to sense the inner body, and scientists call that interoception or interoceptive awareness, like proprioception was his external body awareness, this is inner body. But the ability to sense the inner body is correlated with healthy psychological and emotional well-being, which I think is, it's fascinating, and it's also fascinating that the scientists didn't really know why that connection was there, they just only noticed that it was there. But I think we yogis can understand, like right away, okay, I feel better when I'm present. And if we go back to the root of yoga, and the word yoga itself in Sanskrit means union or yoking of mind and body, that union, that meshing, and that's exactly what we're working here. And the word somatic yoga comes from the Greek word soma, and the Greek word soma doesn't have a translation in the English language. We have 3 words for their one, but soma means heart, it means body, and it means mind, all in one. And it's kind of crazy that in our language we have those separate, and in our culture we tend to separate them too. But as yogis we come to learn that they are not separate at all, that when I feel emotion in my heart, I feel it in my body, and I think it in my mind. And it all is hand in hand in one. And when we can bring them all together and align, then all of our actions, our convictions, our passion, come from the true self versus the small self. So in the Shavasana, I don't want you to think about what I just said too much. I'd rather you get out of your brain. We spend a lot of time there. In this Shavasana, try and have an in-body experience. Let your awareness float around to sounds. Sounds in your house, sounds in the room. And don't let them be a distraction. We're not trying to pull ourselves away from the world. We're trying to be more calm and comfortable within it and everything that's going on around us. Let your awareness come to smells, to all those sensations in your body. Notice tingling, vibration, lightness, heaviness. Notice the rise and fall of your breath. Every time your mind takes you away somewhere, that's okay. Just bring it back here. Be alive and awake to being alive and awake, like my great teacher Diane Connolly says.